Today on Legend in the Game, on Media City Radio, we're joined by a powerhouse of purpose, Yvonne Harvey Williams, better known as Yvonne Inspires. From the city of Patterson to stages across the country, Yvonne has built a legacy of transformation through truth, transparency, and tireless dedication to the youth. As a motivational speaker, mentor, and advocate, she made it her life's mission to uplift young people and help them see beyond their circumstances. In this episode, Yvonne opens up about her personal journey, the power of using her voice for change, and the legacy she's building one speech, one story, one student at a time. If you ever doubted the impact one person could have, I personally witnessed her on multiple occasions. She's the real deal and the truth, and you would definitely leave inspired today. Please welcome Yvonne Harvey to the show.
Hey!
Well, first of all, I appreciate you coming today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you for trusting me with your platform, an amazing one at that.
Thank you, thank you. Of course, it's great to see both of you guys. I know you guys are always as a duo.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I love it. I love the shirt. I definitely need that in the entourage.
The nuance.
Yes, definitely. That got to be in the closet.
We got you.
My son saw it. He was like, wait, what? I was like, keep reading, keep reading.
I know you love it.
I love it.
So first, can you share a little bit about your personal journey, where you're from, and what does the city of Patterson mean to you? Also, what inspired you to become a motivational speaker?
That's a loaded question. I'm going to do my best now. You know, I'm a motivational speaker, so I'm going to do my best with it. I'm from Patterson, New Jersey, born and raised. I've pretty much lived all over Patterson, but I was, for the most part, born and raised in the Fourth Ward of Patterson. I started speaking, I'm not even going to say on accident. It was like I wanted to come back to my community and help, because at the time I was working in corporate, and for whatever reason, I couldn't hire people from my city, maybe because of, wearing the wrong clothes for the interview process, not being prepared for the resume situation. And so in the back of my mind, I'm like, let me cut this. Let me get ahead of this thing. They can do the work. They can do the job. They can make a lot of money. Let me just go and try to, talk to whoever's sending them here so we can go ahead and get classes together, so that they can get hired for the job. So I would go first. We did the welfare to work reform, where I would go talk to teenage moms who were eventually going to get off of welfare but come into work, and I talked to them about etiquette, talked to them about dressing for the interview, talking about building their resume. That was the initial phase, right? So then I got a call to go to Eastside High School, because there were students who were deemed special ed, and they wanted me to go in and talk to them. And so at first it was almost like kind of like a good luck type thing. But when I went in, I was like, yo, this is my school. These are my people. This is my block. This is my HUD. I'm going hard. And then they went like, when is that lady coming back to talk to us again? So almost 29 years ago.
Wow.
And almost 3 decades. And that turned into having a career in corporate, to 9/11 happening, and then me becoming a full-time speaker. But then to go back just a little bit, growing up in the city of Patterson, New Jersey, a lot of people know me. They knew me by either Evie or Red, or, they knew me because I was that little girl that was for real off the porch at like 10, 11, drinking, smoking. But the backstory to that was what a lot of people didn't know until I started telling my story. Was I was born to a mom. She was in 7th grade when she had me, 8th grade when she had my brother. By the time she was 18, she had 3 babies, 3 different fathers. None of us knew them. None of us knew their names. So we struggled. She had a drug-addicted boyfriend who was addicted to heroin and crack cocaine. And we lived through abuse beyond the imagination, when I say it, for real. So I was an angry teenager, going through having to move all the time, no food, lights getting turned off 15th of the month, being with my grandparents. They were also poor, from picking food out the trash, trying to figure out what's good and what's not good, to just becoming an angry, bitter teenager, because I felt like the first person in my life, the first 2 people in my life messed up because they didn't protect me. And then because of that, I became an independent adult. And then that turned into just abusive relationship after abusive relationship. Then harm, becoming an alcoholic, smoking just on a block, on a lot of blocks, going from wherever I could go, sleeping wherever I could sleep, living wherever I could live, to eventually becoming an adult and saying, yo, if I could stop any of these babies from ever going through whatever it was that I had to go through growing up, I'm going to do that. And I'm starting at home first. And then from there, God just opened up crazy. When I see crazy doors, that's the long short of it.
How many doors you believe you walked through?
Man, listen, too many. I think at one point
More than enough to just say, just thank you, God, for the blessings, for all these blessings.
Come on. You know what's so crazy? Last night I was the keynote speaker at CAPS, their graduation, and I told the story about Randall Lassiter, Pastor Lassiter, and at the time, he knew me like when I was Red. He knew me when I was like little Evie, because I was always smart in school. I was a straight A student in school, but no one pushed education at my home. It was just like my mom is basically barely reading, barely writing, so college, what is that? But I love school. I really love school. I dropped out of high school so many times. I went from Rosa Parks Performing Arts School. That's how I got to Eastside, because I just never went back to school after a while. And then I got to Eastside, left there, never went back. But the irony is I ended up one day just saying, yo, if I'm going to make out of this, I got to go back to school. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy time. Ended up going to a EOF program in the summer, meeting Reverend Lassiter at this event where I was taking my high school diploma to quickly, like within like 2 months, to hurry up and get it so I can try to get to college. Went to Passaic County Community College, and I remember showing up hungover just about every day. And the one day that I was going to quit, because I talked myself out of being there so many times, but the one day like I was really, really, really about to quit, he called me in his office, and he had the whinings on, like gospel, and I wasn't saved. I didn't know what Jesus, who, what are you talking about? I'm in there like, yeah, what up? Let me talk to you, and he shut the door. Oh yeah, you know how he is. Come in, have a seat. Just all jovial and happy and kind, and he's playing the whinings tomorrow. So as it's playing in the background, it's like messing with me, and I'm thinking like, what is that? What is he playing? And I'm saying to him, listen, I'm not gonna be able to do this anymore. He's like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, do this, like this, school. And he's like, you're such a leader. I'm like, nah, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm about to do. You don't know where I'm from. You don't know you don't even know like what I did before I got here. Like, you have no clue. And he's like, no, everybody respects you. I see how they look at you. You're just such a leader. And he was just going into the spiel. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, bruh, you have no idea who you're talking to right now. And he's like, I'm not talking to the caterpillar. I'm talking to the butterfly. And that was my first encounter with someone, me hearing the word greatness, but me hearing a man say to me, period, I'm proud of you. And he said that, and I bawled, I cried like a baby, and I said, and you better not tell anybody I'm crying, because if you do, I'm going to beat you up. He always said, you remember you threatened me, right? You remember you told me. Nah, but I love that man. So he was a pivotal part of my journey, becoming the person that you see sitting before you. Like, God had his hand on me in that office that day. Was no mistake, no accident. And then from there, just in little pockets of my life and, of moving forward, he would just always have a word for me. I was never a member of his church, but just we had that mutual respect. He was like a dad figure to me, really, and he would say stuff to me sometimes, and I'd be like, oh, like, ah. But it was just a gentle, kind nudging, like nothing I ever felt before. But the whole greatness thing, yeah, he was speaking that. He was speaking that over me, over what, I'll be 52 in August. He was speaking that over me for over good 30 plus years now.
It's crazy. I wouldn't even know you today without him, because Pastor's the one that told Lieutenant Sharon that he's like, you got to use him. Mm-hmm. You got to use him. He's the truth. He's really talented. You got to use him for your events. Mm-hmm. And without that connection, I wouldn't even have met you.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how, like, again, Pastor Lassiter is always doing something to connect the dots.
That's the goal. Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing a documentary? Like, we need
Yeah.
to do a secret documentary, and so everybody comes together. And like, what did he say to you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's definitely been a true blessing, to my life. So why the youth, and what does the youth mean to you?
Man, first of all, they're the most misunderstood generation in the world. Young people are very, very, very misunderstood. Sometimes I sit back and I just watch how adults handle teenagers and young adults, period. And to me, I think what blows my mind is the fact that they forget that they were actually young at one time too, and did a whole lot of stuff too. And that grace that they probably wanted back then too, they rarely do I ever see them extended to them. And you can't, man, young people can see fluff a mile away. They see fake a mile away. You can't fake being a good speaker in front of a group of teenagers. Adults
have a
know.
good heart.
Right. Adults know how to clap. They know when to say amen. They know when to stand up and to sit down. Young people are like, first 30 seconds, they know if you're real or if you're fake, right? My heart for them really is just that. I want them to know I've been where either you're trying to go, I've been where you were, I've been where you are. What is that you say, baby? I'm in your future looking at your past. I'm standing in your past looking at your future. So for me, I think the pull was really because I see a lot of grown-ups give up on them. Or either they prematurely label them. That one's gonna make it. That person isn't. That, oh yeah, that one right there. Oh, watch that one right there. And I'm thinking to myself, what if God said that about you? I don't give up. If God saved me, he could save anybody. You know what I
I'm a
mean?
pure example of that myself.
Okay, if he could redeem us, if he could save us, if he could fix us up, and he could, the real evangelical work, the real work of Christ is not in the four walls. The real work is in the trenches. It's the foot soldiers. It's the individuals that's going out touching the generations that's going to come after us. That's going to be able to say, what are we really saying when we tell a young person, oh, you'll never make it with that attitude? Well, did you not have an attitude when you were 13 and 14? Do you feel like you made it? you know? So my heart goes out, and then I just see a lot, and I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I can see hurt. I can sense things. I can discern things. People will walk past a young person. They'll reach over. And here's the other thing. Kids can't vote. So they're always forgotten. It's the unspoken, for real, it's the unspoken thing. Like, you want to get to people with power all the time. Most people do anyway. You want to get people who have the ability to vote, who have money, who have the ability to support you. But most of the time, youth are overlooked because they don't have voting power. So basically, they're depending on someone who is in a position to put them and help them and whatever. God told me, I just need you to tap into that sleep. I want you to tap into that greatness. I want you to tap into that. I want you to awaken that sleeping giant. I want you to let them see who they really. Tell them who they are. Shake that off of them. When you see that spirit of suicide, wrestler, you know what that looks like. You know what that spirit of suicide looks like. You know what that spirit of depression looks like. You know what that spirit of addiction looks like. You know what that spirit of abuse looks like. You know what that spirit of violation looks like. Don't move so fast through life that you're trying to get somewhere that you don't stop and acknowledge what you see and what's on somebody and be able to tap into it. And it's just so happened that that's how the doors open. That's how the kids could want me to come back.
Exactly.
The kids are like, when that lady coming back?
Yeah, they have the power. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Now,
like,
on that part.
exactly. They're like, she inspired us. We loved her. She resonated with us. Mm-hmm. I felt like she knew who I was. She cared about me. So it's no question, the youth or your heart. Do you ever get asked by parents for help with their troubled children?
Yeah, I do. One-on-ones for me are a little difficult because we move so much and we go so much, and of course I have my own kids and I'm married, so I've learned to like just take on as much as I can. Like I try not to burn out. I try not to overdo it. And if God doesn't tell me, then I don't. But I do reach out a lot of times, to be honest with you, Felix. A lot of times when people ask me to help their young adult or young or teenager or child or whatever, really that child, sometimes you could say one thing and change the entire trajectory of that child's life. They don't need anything else. It's like you said, boom, I got it the first time. Heard you loud and clear. Parents think like you have to sit there and you have to tarry with them. No, let's be in this moment. Let's tap that. Let's fix that, and let's move on. And get to this place wherever we need to get. Yes, I've spent a lot of time with a lot of kids, especially before I got married. I did the whole girls coming to my house, sleeping all over my floor, movie night. Going to the park, going to work out. They didn't like that too much. Just hanging out, and all that stuff, and just taking time, mentoring. Believe it or not, some of my mentees now they're married. I've been in it for over 30 years now. But I do, to answer your question, yes, I have.
May I?
Yes.
A point on her reaching out in one-on-ones. This is stuff that she don't tell people. So she literally gives out her phone number to thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids. And there's been so many times where
I've seen that firsthand too.
Cash out kids because they were hungry, they off at college, they were struggling. Just talk to them, just text them, just that little stuff. Call me anytime. And they're surprised when she answers the phone. They're surprised when she responds. Some people, like literally on some of the texts, they're just openly put out there, could you please call me? And other people saying, she's not gonna call you. And she immediately goes back on there and say, I'll call you in a few minutes. And they're like, what? And there was this one time, and this is frequent. This happens a lot. But there's one time we was at a girls' event, and the girl didn't come to the event. The mother came to the event, and she heard her speak. After it was over, she waited in line, crying, and said, listen, I tried my best to get my daughter here. She would not come. I need help, or my daughter is not going to make it. My wife said, let's go where you live at. And we literally went to her house and my wife went in, knocked on her door. I'm standing there like I'm security, like, okay, where are we going right now? Like, okay, so we just going, right? Let's go. So, and she goes in and she talks to this girl. She spent like an hour with her. And all the stuff that the mother didn't even know about, she just poured it all out. Like, I don't know how she immediately created a safe space for this little girl she didn't even know. But she immediately became a safe space. She poured out everything. We were able to communicate that back to the mother like it was a bridge between them because it was a generational gap. There was a breakdown between that communication. And it immediately got repaired. God just sent us in there. And it was like that little girl came out of that room a whole different person.
Amen.
And so when you talk about the one-on-ones, there's a whole lot of one-on-ones.
I've seen it too, like even with the Unity Foundation with Lieutenant Sharon when she came in for the group of girls and all of them around her. I saw it, like I said, her giving out the phone number. Them asking her questions. I even saw the one mom asking you questions as well. So that's why I asked. I was like, I know, like you say, you got to pace yourself because you could get burnt out of a woman, but they say when you're doing God's work, he'll give you the energy and the strength.
He does, though, Phyllis, really. And you know what? The kids are not the problem either. Like, my husband will tell you, most of the time, I'm really, like, up when we come home from travel. I could be up for 3 days, but as soon as we get home, my first thing to do is what? Start
cleaning up.
Start cleaning up. It'll be like
because she has this energy, this leftover energy she has to put somewhere.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to, like, the one-on-ones with the kids, and even... And this is what I respect a lot. Like, number one, let me say this. I'm her number one fan. Like, it's just hands down. And no one has heard her speak as much as me. And for me to hear her speak over and over again and still be blown away, like, I wish I heard her speak when I was a kid. Like, I have made sure that she's, in my hometown, she speaks at the schools. Like, we literally has a rotating schedule where we go speak to the students. Because I want everybody that's where I'm from to hear her speak. Because I understand the impact. But her ability to go in and speak the one-on-ones, and even, like I said, what I respect the most, even the young men, she'll speak to them, then she'll hand them off to me. And she'll say, okay, I need you to talk to them with this, and let's guide them this way, guide them that way.
But that's my heart, though.
And it's just pure, they're just who she is. So
the young man on my heart is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. My husband is like, do you like girls? Do you like, you make the girls feel like bad? Because you keep saying how much you love the young men, how they're a soft spot in your heart. I'm like, they know I love them, but they also know that we neglect the fellas too. They also know that we talk too much. The guys never have a space to really talk, and most of the time they don't want to share those things. So I'm usually validating what they're saying. So I'm saying it for them, right? And how do I know this? I have a 34-year-old child, a grown man son, and baby, we've been through the ringer. I'm not a perfect mom. I've had some doozies. I've had to go back and apologize to my kid. I've had to tell him straight up, like, I messed up. I broke you. I broke your spirit. There were times where I said some stuff to you absolutely had no business saying, because I was raising you scared, raising you tough, raising you think because you're a man, I had to talk to you a certain type of way, and I watched how I would break him down and not really being able to discern his gifts, not really discerning the fact that he has a good heart. It didn't take all of that. It didn't take the yelling. It didn't take the threats. It didn't take the threat, and I'm going to do this to just taking stuff away from him. Sometimes it was just a conversation, and looking back, even when he would deal, like, not to tell, his story is his story, but he would deal with like a lot of anxiety. And I really never knew what that felt like, because I'm thinking, you're a man, like, deal with it. You don't come here anxiety, and I would literally dismiss it most of the time, because I'm thinking, we pay all the bills, we take care, you have no worries, you have your own bedroom, you have food, you're protected. What do you need? You don't need anything. We give you everything. So what problems do you really have? And I would dismiss the stuff he was going through, because looking through my lens, I'm thinking, yo, I was abused. I was literally tortured. Like, I was homeless. I was sleeping in hallways. I was sleeping outside. I was standing on the block for 3 days in a row. Like, your bio was black in my eyes, like, just going back and forth. Where I'm like, how do you have problems? You don't even know what problems are. And in my foolish thinking, I dismissed a lot of the internal struggles that he was having, because sometimes what happens with young men specifically, and I think this is why my heart, because I'm trying to, like, I'm redeeming, I feel like I'm always trying to redeem myself, that part of myself, right? So when I see young men, I'm a little different than now, because I'm a little bit more understanding, and I see how God made y'all, right? And he's so powerful in the way he made you. At such a young age, you feel like a man. But as mothers, we talk to you like little boys. God created y'all in a sense of, you enter into a space of manhood. There's no rites of passage. We don't have things where we walk you in and we say, you're a man now, and we celebrate you as a man at 13 and 14. But if we be realistic, and if we really look at when things start happening in your life and certain chemicals start going on in your body and in your brain, and the shift and the change of your body, guess what? God created that. He put that on you, right? And as a mother and as a woman, especially as an independent woman, especially as a woman, that was at one point a single mom and doing everything, I couldn't understand why my kid was, what are you doing? Like, why are you everything? You complain about everything. You never say thank you. In my mind, I'm thinking all these things, and I didn't realize, like, he's being suffocated. He's being suffocated in a space where he can't be what he feels. He can't be a young man. He doesn't know how to maneuver in that space. And it's just me. I don't have a man. I don't have somebody his dad's not doing it. This is before I met my husband. But even with my husband, a man has this desire to want to have his father, his biological father. So I was squeezing and choking things out of him that I needed more understanding of. So it was a trial by error type thing. But I say all that to say, he was going through some serious anxiety. And the reason why is because he probably felt like the world was closing in on him. And the only person in his life that he probably adored, his mother, I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know what to do with any of that, right? And it broke him. And I had to go back and make some things okay. I had to go back and apologize to him. I had to go back and apologize to him based on the way I treated him, the way I talked to him, and I'm not always right. Just because I'm your mother doesn't mean I have all the answers and that I'm always right. So I say all that to say, I take to the men a lot, or the young men a lot, because I see a lot of that brokenness, and I see 72% of our communities are being raised by single mothers. Just let that, let that, 70, I said 72, 73%, right? 73% of our families are being raised by single moms, right? So when you put that in perspective and you have a mother who is probably at work being passed over, promotions, being paid less, new people coming in, having to train the new people, and then the new people end up becoming our bosses. And then we're working, but it's not, nothing's moving here. Like, we can't keep up.
And progressing the way you want to.
Right. We're not progressing. And then on top of that, we have this stigma of being a single mom, so it's just so much. And then you add the fact that if we're, Black and brown community or marginalized community, they don't take us seriously. We're the most unprotected people on the planet. So what do? We bring that frustration home. We bring it home to our children. We take it out on our kids. People don't want to admit that, but we do, and for years, I did it, and I didn't mean to do it. I didn't want to do it. So now what I try to do, that's my space of helping moms now. We got to stop talking to these young men like boys. We got to stop demoralizing them. We got to stop demeaning them. We let eye contact. Let's look at them, hug them. It's okay to say, "Hey, baby," it's okay to love on them. It's okay to be a safe space. Let them talk. And if they don't want to talk, find somebody they could talk to. Look, Benji, my son was in everything. He was with Mr. Moody. He was Benji. He was with the city of Patterson, the host. And then my husband came along. I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you.
But like what you said earlier, too, boys, suppress themselves, where girls sometimes are more outspoken. So that's another reason why I think as well. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on Lieutenant Sharon Easton and the Unity Foundation and what it does? What does that mean to you?
Man, that's my girl. First of all, that's my sis. That's big sis right there. You know the story, right? You heard the story?
I think I heard you say it.
I'm not going to go into the story, but I'll say this. First and foremost, Sharon.
I remember her talking about, at least there's a video of you like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I know you guys go a long way back.
Easy, probably now, 25 years? Easy, because we've been together for 24 years, and we've been married for almost 21 years. Well, we've been married, 22 years. 22 years. Oh, Lord, forgive me, Jesus.
Because he just told me, because I'm about to be 22 in September. So he said, oh, you about to catch up with me.
I'm jet lagging. Sorry, my bad. Sorry.
December 17th.
But she's known me, for as long as I've been doing this, right? Crazy thing is, the backstory is this, okay, I was a juvenile delinquent. I had a criminal past as a teenager. I was on probation. I was a little refined, you know what I mean? So I'm like the little refined Yvonne, you know what I mean? So I'm working in corporate. This is when I'm coming back to the community, teaching them how to do resumes and dress for the interview. So I was going to the alternative school. Dr. Zatidi Moody at the time, Mr. Moody was at the alternative schools, and then I was doing some stuff with the Moody, with Mr. Moody as well. So I would go into the schools, and I'm in there. I'm with my Gucci shoes on, my suits on, and I'm in there, but I'm in there, So she is looking at me when I walk in, like, what's she gonna do with her little cute self? She too cute. These girls, they're gonna eat her up. And so Mr. Moody would always say, Sharon, you need to come in. You need to listen to her. You need to listen to her. I'm not listening to her. Look what's she gonna say, So she tells the story a lot better. I didn't know she was saying all this stuff. I just loved her for the work that she did. I just was like, yeah, because she's tough, but at the same time, she loves so hard, man. Unbelievably hard. Mm-hmm. So that moment sealed our sistership, because the first time she heard me speak, it was like when it was over, she came up to me, she was crying, she was apologizing, hugging, and we were locked in. So we were in the projects, CCP projects, Alabama projects, all over doing these programs, youth programs, where people don't understand. Lieutenant Easton she's been bringing in people to come in to feed and elevate the community, right? But now you have the Unity Foundation and the things that they're doing, which to me, when you really think about it, these babies are entrepreneurs, business owners. She demands a level of excellence from them She does not play with them, but she acknowledges that it's my. When she talks about them, she lights up like a baby before
Yeah.
Christmas. You know what I mean?
They come on Sunday sometimes at church, and oh my God, you see her running up there, hugging on
Yep.
them and loving on them, and just glad to see them.
Yep, loving on them. The funniest part of the world is like to see the dynamic between us. You know what I mean? 'Cause never in a million years would she and I. We're supposed to like be sisters. Like, come on, I'm over here in my life doing. God knows she knows what I was doing over here. She's a police officer, but the adult me and her working with young people that potentially that was me. I could have easily, been an entrepreneur at that age, but I still struggled. I still had an attitude. I still wanted to fight. I still wanted to wild out. I still wanted to crash out, whatever. But to watch her take so much pride in this organization and what she is doing right now with this nucleus. But Officer Jordan, when he don't take any. You can say, Officer Jordan, you're
Yeah, he's
amazing.
coming next week, and he's already like, bro, I'm gonna have the kids do all the talking. I'm like, yeah, right.
You gotta hear.
I'm like, I'm gonna give you your flowers whether you want to receive them or not.
Yes,
and you can have the kids, do.
Make them, Felix.
Yeah, I am. Don't worry, I am because
Make him.
he does so many amazing things for the community, the kids, and
Yes.
I personally just from the 5 or 6 times whatever that the kids have been here, I seen the difference in them. From their personality, the way they carry themselves, the way they dress, everything. And I said, bro, that's all you. That's all you. You know what I'm saying? I told him that when I spoke to him the other day. And when I told him, bro, when you come, because I sent him a video from I had the dad program here. And, he, Coach Davis was right there. And then there was, 3 kids around him. So I'm like, bro, you sitting there.
Yes.
And then the kids will be around you, but they're gonna talk, but I'm bringing these roses to you whether you want them or not.
Yes.
And they're gonna tell you a story because you do so many amazing things, and it's a shame that there's not more awareness of it. And from
That part.
my from having PR experience in the past, I'm like, I don't understand why there's not so much media and press on what you guys do. You guys do such amazing events that some of the shots I've taken, I'm not just saying that because I took them, should have been on the cover of the newspaper the next day talking about what you guys did.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So whatever I got to do to bring more awareness to, I'm definitely am.
Please, Felix, do
Yes,
it. Please.
I am.
You're the person to do it too, because God is setting you up specifically for a time such as now. You've been doing this for so long, man. Your resume is long. Like, you're talking about me. Like, for real.
Legend in the game.
You are a legend in the game, but look how God is so intentional and so strategic. Like, he said, look, I'm gonna build your resume, because what do the kids respond to?
Body of work, the history.
Body of work all day, right? Body of work all day, and then also what you say, how you say it, and then making sure you're not fake, but your body of work. Your body of work as soon as you step foot in the door. But this is the crazy part. People don't talk about this level of community policing.
I would say,
Why?
I'm on the outside looking in. I'm from Georgia. I've known Officer Easton.
24 years.
Like 24 years, right? She is the definition of community policing. I don't know who did it before her, but she has laid a blueprint that is untouchable. And then she cultivated a community and a culture and an atmosphere in which a Jordan can step right in. And his gifts can, he's on her shoulders.
Yep.
And he's doing an amazing job.
She said, because she could retire, she's like, she doesn't want to retire because she want to make sure all these programs continue to go and thrive and everything before she actually does do that. I mean, she has the time and everything else to do it, but she won't.
Because she has so much wisdom and knowledge and understanding. She's a true human resource.
Yep.
Her intellectual properties that she possesses, that she brings to this, I'm telling you. So she's so smart and wise. What she's doing, she's continuing to cultivate that culture, and she's planting seeds in Officer Jordan and others, so that when she do step away, which any good leader do, a good leader will make sure even when they're not there, the work is still getting done.
Yep.
So what she's doing is she's literally, she's making sure this foundation is so tight that she can just come back and just take a look at it. She can retire, travel the world, come back, and oh yeah, y'all good. she can, and then she has to come back because they're gonna be honoring her for the rest of her life because her body of work is untouchable. I can care less.
Ginormous.
Like, so you're hearing this from an outsider. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm like, wow. Everywhere we travel, and we travel all over the world, we speak of this level of community policing.
Yep.
Because this is that stuff that bridges the gap between literally the community and the police. It removes the stigma. Because now, how could you be afraid of a police when they pull you over if you were just at an amazing event they threw for you with a lot of food and fun and y'all dance together? You literally humanize that police officer. Now, oh, that's a human just like me. They have a family just like me. We just danced together. We just ate together. We just had a good time together. They pulled me over. You know what? I was wrong, officer. I'm sorry. Hey, you're right. It's the stigma is gone. The fear is gone because the community policing has been done so well that they have integrated into the community on a level that is untouched.
Yep.
So that is nothing but respect for her. Like,
Yep.
hats off. Flowers given, all that.
And Jordan, look, this is the crazy part though, right? You talk to Sharon about the Unity Foundation, and you talk about it should be like, that's all Jordan, right? She'll say that. Then you go to Jordan, Jordan's like, that's LT, that's LT.
Yeah.
And I said, well, doggone it.
Nobody want no credit.
It's all of y'all.
Nobody want no credit. Nobody want no credit. But that's how you know really they're doing God's work.
Amen.
Because they're not there for like clout or any of that.
Yeah,
They're literally there just to do what to do their job and be a blessing. Yeah.
The Secret Service of the work that they do as well. I mean, nobody would know. The kids are going to church with a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer is taking children to church. The police officer is exposing the teenagers to ability to own their own businesses. Not the ability to, but they are actually, they own businesses. These kids are so buttoned up. The teens are so grateful for the opportunity. You're gonna talk to the teens? Watch.
Yep. I am.
Watch. They brag different.
Oh yeah. That's why I told them. I said, no, that's cool. I'm loving that you bringing them, but you getting on that microphone just so we clear. And then, like you say, then I'm like, look, and then you want to, pass the mic like the cipher. That's cool, but you definitely getting on that mic first, and you giving me more than a hot 16.
Exactly right. And you will not be hitting the beat either, Jordan. Officer Henry. You will not be the one doing this.
Not at all. Oh my God. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your career, and how do you overcome them?
Oh, that's so good. Well, for a long time, as a mom, of course, thinking, oh, my baby's enough. My kids, I'm working all these hours. So the guilt of that as an adult mom in my field doing what I do, right? Then there's always the thing of, God, did I say everything you wanted me to say? Was I obedient? Was I so stressed out, so tired, so distracted by something that I forgot to mention something that would have saved someone's life today because I was on flesh. I was on something else, on 10, because travel had me vexed or whatever, right? The challenges for me as a 51-year-old Yvonne, I have to say though, my energy level, you see me, I'm.
So I said, I'm like, I need some of that. I could rub her with your permission. I gotta rub her something and let some of that come on this way because I just turned 50 a couple days ago and I feel washed.
No. Yeah, but you are. You know your job too. You have to move around. You have to have your finger on the pulse. Like I'm a wild child. I can jump from chair to chair, stage to stage.
He's trying to catch.
You gotta catch it, right?
Yeah, and trying to keep up with your energy. I'm like, man,
you gotta capture me, the audience, the people in the back, the people in the fixing the lights, whatever. As a wife, as a mom, as a grandmother, I have all of these things now that I want to make sure that I'm doing right. I don't want to neglect anything. As an empty nesting mother now, where it's just me and my husband now, it's just he and I. Now it's okay. how do we learn each other now? Because it's a different dynamic now. Now it would be at first it was just us, the children. We got to focus on them. Now it's he and I, right? The 51-year-old Yvonne wants to make sure that self-care is involved. I did a lot of neglect earlier on in my career, just poor eating habits. Thank God I haven't had a drink in over 28 years. So I've been sober for 28 years
Wow,
now.
congratulations.
I don't drink.
Amazing.
I don't smoke. I don't, any of that stuff. I don't hang out. I'm not with petty people. I don't really have a social life either. But I'm not mad at that because I travel for a living. So social life is wherever I go. Some of the struggles. Where do we go from here? How do we get the best? How are we able to access more or many more children? How can we touch more lives? Because true, I love going places physically. I like being, because there's nothing like seeing it in rare form, seeing it, in person, being able up close and personal, being able to hug a baby, being able to touch a child. But things have changed so much. The technology has changed. The world has changed so much, and I didn't always pivot well with that. Like I'm not like a real social media, like I could do it or I don't. A lot of my work was pre-social media, because
Yep.
you've been in the game for a long time too.
Same here.
So when you love what you do, you don't always have to say, I gotta capture this moment for social media. That's not my heart. It's just, plus I've been hacked, so we've had to start all over again. That's a headache. I just want to know what's going to be the best usage of our time now moving forward in this dispensation of my life, being able to utilize me, God being able to use me, touching more lives, being able to move in certain spaces and going in certain places where babies need hope. People call it inspiration, but it's hope. We know in the Bible it says that Christ is the hope of glory. He is the hope.
Benji said that the other day when he was here.
Yeah.
That's what he said about the Hope Foundation.
Yes. Hope. Where would we be without it, right? The only reason why you and I sit here today is because we had hope that we have hope that there is a God. We have
Amen.
hope that all of our sins have been, forgiven. We have hope that we can be reborn again, that we can be redeemed, right? There's a hope there. So what does that hope do? That hope gives us a vigor. It gives us new life. It gives us another chance. It gives us a reborn again experience where old things passed away. Behold, you see new things now. I'm going to show you something new. I'm going to show you the new and improved, but I'm also going to see you the good parts of me that I couldn't show you because they were smothered by all of the junk and the trauma that I had to go through in my life, and the muck and the mire and the coping mechanisms that I used, the smoking, the drinking, and all of this other stuff. And I'm the height of the party, and I'm the turn up queen, and I'm and I'm doing all this and that. But deep down inside, I'm dying. So now that we're past that phase, I have the stamina as a 51-year-old, but I want to be able to say, how in the world do I reach the babies that really, 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 really need it right now in this very moment? Because second to children being afraid, the number one thing kids are afraid of right now is school shootings. Number one, right? Number two thing that they're afraid of, that they are more than anything that they're dealing with, is suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideology, not knowing who they are, dealing with the thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, look at me, I'm ugly, look at my complexion, look at my hair.
Pressure of social media put that on them too.
Fake social norms, and so we are the voice. So I feel like that's where God is leading us right now. I did TV in Patterson for 4 or 5 years. So we did that. We did all.
It's
of
funny that I wasn't even one of my questions, but hearing what you just said about the outreach and stuff like that made me think about that. I'm like, you ever thought about doing a show or anything like that? Because then you could reach a larger audience. But you just answered that.
So that's what we are. That's the re-up.
Yeah.
That's the re-up.
Because I was just thought about that too. And then that way, not to say you don't like to travel, but it's like at a certain point, like you said, empty nesters, you want to do certain things. So it gives you that freedom to say, you know what, okay, I could still reach a large audience and still have the ability to spend time with my significant other and enjoy life too.
And consistency, though, because look, when you have shows, you have a podcast right now, right? So you can create content. So they don't just get a chance to see Felix on social media when there's events. Felix has his own thing. Felix can put out as much content as he wants, and he can touch as many topics as he wants. He can bring as many guests as he wants. He can do it's more. It's being more readily available to people to see, right? One thing with my babies, and Randall Lassiter said this again to me one time. He was like, when you leave, the babies hold on to what you said for a whole year until you come back again. You need to give them something so that they have something to hold on to until you come back again. Hence my books. So I wrote the books. We have books now, right? So now the pivot is the television show, which we had, but now more than ever, it's social media. But the show is on social media, YouTube, and all the other stuff. So that's where we're going with that, because I don't want to miss God. I don't want to let God down. This is wonderful and amazing, all the years and the stuff that I've done, the body of work and all that other stuff. That's amazing. But what if I get there and God said, but you missed this. I needed you to do this. I didn't say travel more. I didn't say have 40 flights in addition to the 30 you were already taking. I said, stop, strategize, reinvent, pivot, and utilize what's in your hands. What's in your hands? Social media is free. It's all free. The ministry, the devil is using it. You better believe it, baby.
Most definitely. Most
He's
definitely.
on one.
That's all you see more than anything on social media is the enemy's work.
It's unbelievable. Sometimes I'm like, this can't be real. I'm like, am I being punked every night? Like I'm turning my phone to my husband, like, am I being punked? Because I feel like I'm being punked right now. Are you seeing this? Am I just sleep deprived right now?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. As a father, I'd be like, man, my boys got a real thing coming for them the way, especially a lot of these young girls' mental is because of social media. I'm like, nah, this is not real.
Yeah.
You know, we asked a question. We was at an event, and we asked the teenagers, full of their thoughts on social media, and what age should parents allow students or kids to be on social media. And a lot of them was like, no, they shouldn't start until they're like 16, 17, maybe even 18.
Yep.
I was like, wow. Yeah, because they understand. And some of the kids, like, I wish I would have never had access to social media, because when you have access, that means that it works both ways. So now they have access to you.
Yep.
So I don't think at any point in time, no one should have that much access to our children, and our children shouldn't have that much access to all the foolishness that's going on in the world.
Yeah, I was speaking to a counselor a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about how some of the girls she had, which are about 8 years old, and they're all stressed out about beauty tips and all types of stuff. Like, she's like, I wasn't even thinking about that till I was like in my 20s, and they're 8 years old talking about skincare and hair products. And
Bruh, $1 billion industry.
Yes.
This is tweens, not teens.
Yeah.
Billion.
How can we get their money now? How can we start? How can we monetize their insecurities?
Yep.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're monetizing every insecurity that any young person have. Then they can lock them in for life. If I can do that now, if I can plant that seed and continue to water it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow me a real money tree. I'm going to grow me trees of money and forest full of money trees, because I have impacted these children in such a negative way that I've rewired their brains to think that they're not enough, to think they're not beautiful enough, to think that nothing that they do would never measure up to these fake social norms.
Yep.
Well said, brother. What is your core message or philosophy you strive to convey in your speeches?
Two things. First, it's not how you started, but it's how you finish. So finish real, real big. And I tell this is people are afraid of greatness, right? Greatness is controversial. I can see what's on you sometimes before you can see what's on you. I can see how amazing you are before you can, right? So if I'm a hater, the first thing I'm gonna try to do is I gotta try to detract you. I gotta take you off course early. I gotta start pointing out all the flaws to make you, like, I gotta dangle over here so you're not here. I gotta make you look at something that's irrelevant to your purpose, right? So you have to understand, anytime an individual is trying to diminish or do anything to attack your character, to attack something like a personal thing on you, or a personal thing about you, or whatever, don't take that stuff personally. Like, they're doing that for a reason. First of all, they're insecure about themselves. But this is the one thing I realized: if somebody doesn't like you, it's a personal problem. If you never did anything to that person and they don't like you, it's a personal problem. If you walk into a space and somebody immediately is intimidated by you because of the way you look or because of what you have, it's a personal problem. So stop dimming down and dumbing down to fit into these false narratives in these small little boxes so somebody can feel comfortable about themselves because they're not doing what it is that they need to be doing in life. They don't want to do it. They're not motivated to do it. You're not motivating them by your presence because guess what? In reality, we should be giving each other permission to shine. When I walk in and I'm my best self, when you see me and I'm on 10 and I hug you and you hug me and we could feel like the energy just surge to us and we're like, yeah, let's go. We have just given each other permission to just rock the entire event out, right? But when that doesn't happen, when I'm standoffish, I'm like, look at him, legend in the game. Speak to inspire. When we do certain stuff like that and we begin to cut each other down and we cut each other's confidence down, then what we just did was, man, we just sold out. We're sellouts. We're sellouts because we can't even celebrate one another. So if people don't like you, if they can't handle your success, if they don't like what you do, if you being your best, authentic, 100% self is offending them, if you know you're not conceited or stuck up and you're not doing it just to, be overly zealous or you're trying to, be something that you're not or whatever, but you know that your heart is behind it. You're doing what you're doing because you truly want to be a light in this dark world. You truly want to be that. If people cannot handle your shine, it's a personal problem. Don't dim down for anybody. My thing is, if they can't handle your shine, tell them put some shades on then. And my goal is this, because I look the way I look, bro. You see me, I'm light skinned, I got freckles. I don't look like, who do you know that looks like? Well, you probably, because, they say I look Puerto Rican. They be like, are you Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I actually thought you was mixed.
Everybody always thinks,
I thought that.
Well, I am mixed. The clean cut of it is white, black, and Native American, right? That's the clean cut of it, right? Okay. Or Indigenous American. But the truth of the matter is, I'm Irish, Dutch, English, Native American. I'm black. I'm like, there's a lot going on here. I'm a pot of gumbo. But I remember, because I look so different and because the freckles, I hated them. I tried to scrub them off with Noxzema. That's how old I am, Noxzema. Y'all remember the Noxzema commercial? Noxzema and lemons and all that stuff. Like, I tried to do all of that stuff to get them off. I hated me. But I realized I hated me because everybody else hated me. Like, they talked about my hair, my body. I wasn't enough. I wasn't this, it was this. So I just remember having this conversation with God. I said, God, I promise you, I will never, ever, ever make somebody feel how people made me feel. I promise you. That's why I don't meet a stranger. I'm friends with everybody. Every ethnicity. My husband will tell you, I don't care who, even if they don't speak English, like, we understand each other just by the nodding and the shaking of the head or just by the hand gesturing and the signaling, because it's empowering and it's so inspiring for us to encourage each other, because we don't know what the next person is going through.
Facts.
Facts.
Who are individuals that inspired you in your life, and how have they influenced your work?
Ooh, there's a couple of them. Well, Reverend Lassiter, Benji, Mr. Moody, Sharon. I don't want to. If I start leaving people out, man, I'm gonna get in trouble. But I'll go back to my 7th grade teacher, Mrs. Williams. She passed away during COVID. Not from COVID, but she passed away during COVID. And the reason why I love her so much is because she taught me my identity. Remember the CAT test we used to fill out? Mm-hmm. I used to ask you what's your ethnicity. And I used to leave it blank. And I remember one day she called me up in the front of the room and she said to me, why didn't you circle this? And I said, because I don't know what I am. And she said, well, you don't know she was like, what's your mom? And I was like, I think she's white. And she was like, what do you mean you think? I said, she looks white, white. And so she was like, what about your dad? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, you don't know, you never seen your dad before? I said, no. She was like, well, what do you think he is? And I was like, I think he might be black. I don't know. She was like, well, what did your mom say about it? And I was like, she doesn't, but from what I understand or what my family said, he's black or whatever. And she told me at that moment, she said, well, baby, you're black. And she's like, don't you ever forget that. And don't you ever be embarrassed about that. So it was at that moment that she kind of sealed me with identity, in a sense of, it became a lot less complicated for me at that moment, because I was getting in fights with like dudes, like calling me, one dude I never forget, I ain't gonna say his name because he might still live in Patterson, and I put them poles on you. I did, Lord, forgive me, but I did. He called me a Oreo cookie. That was one dude. And I did my look, and then she came. I was on top of him, beat him up in the middle of like the floor, right? She came in, she picked me up off of him, and she was like, "What are you doing, Yvonne?" I said, "He called me an Oreo cookie." She said, "Hit him one more time." And then I was outside on the playground, and somebody called me a science project or something like, just craziness. I beat him up too, And so I was just like anger and rage. So at that very moment, I didn't feel like I had to respond to that stuff anymore. Like it didn't matter if you thought I was Little Orphan Annie, Peppermint Patty, Redhead Lucy, Oreo cookie, skunk, whatever you wanted to say about me. At that moment, she pretty much just sealed that, right? So then you have each step of the way, you have certain people that were in my life that kind of introduced me to different things spiritually, professionally, Mr. Reverend Lassiter. Then you have Benji Wimberly, who I worked with for many, many, many years as a specialist. And he was the first person that actually called me a part of his team. And I was like, nobody ain't know it's a part of their team. I used to be just an employee. I wasn't a team member, and it blessed me so. And he just immediately, like, that's my brother. That was my, and people, to the point where he even says, Yvonne, people think like you're my real sister. You know that, right? And, I love his mom. Rest in peace. Just his family in general, they have been such a big support. His wife, just his beautiful wife. Then you have professionally, I have people in my life. My two best friends, they're crazy Italian guys. They used to tell me about myself all the time. Look at you, little hot Patterson, little hot-headed Patterson. Look at you. You want to fight everybody, don't you? But they taught me, they taught me how to conduct business. They taught me how to channel all of the knowledge and all the fire that I had to run a business and to run businesses. Frankie and Johnny, y'all know, y'all my boys. So it's just different people in different level, different places. Spiritually, different people connected me to God. I can't say it was just one person per se. Different places. Mr. Moody, because man, that dude, Chief Moody, he never waver. He's like a dad figure for real to me. Like when he sees me, he's like a proud dad that just looks at me like, Zatiti Moody, who he was the first person to tell me, girl, we gonna pay you to speak. I said, people get paid for speaking? I said, I don't want any money. He said, no, we paying you. I'm like, no, don't pay me anything. Then he told me how much. I said, that's how much. What?
Thank you.
So just, different places in my life. My uncle for introducing me to my husband. Just a lot. My grandparents,
How did y'all meet? Since you brought that up.
Oh, well, you want to take this one on?
I'll try. So
go ahead.
He's like, now you can't mess it up. Now I know she messed up the anniversary part, but you better not mess this up.
Let me hold on, because I got to thank these people. So let me thank my family. Mm-hmm. Let me thank my family: Renee, Allie, Joyce, my sister Joyce Coleman, who was hard on me. Rest in peace, sis. They're not biologically related to me, but they were the ones who took me in. They were the ones who made sure I had food, stable place. They Squeak. Yeah, they loved on me. You know what I'm saying? I was.
It takes a village, right?
I was baby sis, and we had a good time. And I often don't talk about them much because, I don't know how much of the story that they want me to tell. But that's my family for real. So at that point in my life, to this day, we get up, we laugh, their kids, those are my nephew. I'm Auntie Evie to everybody, so that's my family. And I want to make sure that they know that how much I love and appreciate them and value them for real. And I met my biological father when I was almost 18. Uh-oh. So that's where we start. That's where you start.
So I met her uncle before I met her. I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So I was in the Marine Corps in Camp Pendleton, California. And I worked with him in the office when we were in the office and not in the field.
My biological father's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And his name is Marlo
Marlo.
Thomas. He's from Patterson. So I was working in the office when we were not in the field with 2 Marines from New Jersey. He was from Patterson. I can't remember where the other gunnery sergeant was from, but he's from New Jersey as well. Both of them, and he had a real strong Jersey accent. So, and I'm from Georgia. I'm like straight country, like as country can get. Like no shoes in the summer country. Like, only thing I knew was church, sports, and school. That was it. Like my parents, I was somewhat sheltered. I never smoked a day in my life. Never drank. Well, I drank once. I got drunk when I was 14, trying to be cool. I threw up, made a promise to God. I never do this again. I never did it again. So when I got to the Marine Corps, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. The only thing I knew was church and school, and sports. So there were certain things I just didn't do. And a lot of Marines like, you don't fit in, man. What are you doing here? You know, you don't do none of the stuff we do. And there was a lot of stuff that was going on that I didn't do. So he noticed it. And I didn't know that he was watching me. So I always tell young men and tell young people in general, you never know who's watching you. So you got to be mindful of what you do. And anything that threatens your greatness, you need to get away from you as soon as possible. And so he was watching me this whole time. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, listen, I've never seen a young Marine like you that conduct itself the way you do. And he always saw me communicate with my parents, with my grandma. Me and my grandma was really, really close. And he just had so much respect for that. I didn't curse. There's a lot of stuff I just didn't do. And even in that office, Marines curse all the time. They're just part of the language, you know, so, but I didn't. And when he saw me stand up, and I remember being in the office one day, and I said, Gunny, if you don't mind, would you not curse around me? Because I don't curse around you. And I thought he was going to hit me in the mouth. Because in the Marine Corps, you could do that. So I thought he was going to hit me in the mouth. But he has so much respect for me to stand up to him and to the other gunnery sergeant. And yet, not even that he had been watching me. He saw that I wasn't playing. Like, this was really my life. Like, I really just didn't do this stuff. And he gave me so much guidance. Like, literally, when you hear the term a Marine's Marine, this guy's a Marine's Marine. Like, he has fathered so many Marines. It's unbelievable. Like, he would just be there for them, right? And so he told me all about these different opportunities in the Marine Corps that I had no idea. And he opened up a whole new world to me, to be able to do presidential security type stuff, to work in embassies around the world, to get promoted quickly, to just to go all out. And I took advantage of it all. Like, I literally enjoyed my entire Marine Corps career, and it opened up so many doors for me. And so when he prepared me to go to embassy duty, you have to leave your current duty station. You have to go to Quantico, Virginia, and do some amazing training to prepare you to work in embassies. So before I left California, he pulled me to the side. He said, you know what? I think you and my niece have a lot in common. And I think you should contact her. I think y'all will be really good friends. This was before cell phones or whether you are now. This was before social media. This was like AOL.
You got mail.
So I went to Quantico, Virginia, and I did all the training, made it through the training, which was quite vigorous. So I made it through that training. And so I wasn't able to reach out at that time because the training was so hectic. But once I got to my first duty station, which was Jakarta, Indonesia, I worked at that embassy there. I loved it. I started emailing her for like a year. She never
I
responded.
was about to say, I remember her saying briefly, I think it was like, were you really going to wait a year to answer my message or something like that? I think I remember you saying that too.
It was like a year. I was
He emailed me.
emailing her.
Yeah.
And she's not responding. And we tell these
Something like happy birthday or something you said, or something that after you said like that, and you say, it really was like literally a year later.
Yes.
Like, you were
Yes.
like, you really not going to answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we tell the kids, they were like, you left him on red that long? So
A whole year.
And so she would never respond. So I was like, okay. So finally, and I didn't give up. I was persistent. She responded and said, oh, yeah, my uncle told me who you are. There's a lot of weirdos out there, you know. So I didn't respond. So we started emailing back and forth after that. And I kid you not, the emails was only about how God did some amazing things in her life and what God was doing in my life. And because especially the place I was in at the time, it was a lot going on, and she had been through a lot, and it was just the spiritual journey we were both going through individually, and then we just linked in the spirit, right? We talking all the time. or via email. Then I started calling her, and we would call and talk all the time. And so one day I told her, I said, look, I think I know who my wife is. She was like, oh, great. Who is it? I said, I think you're my wife. Mind you, I had never met her. I had never seen her. My entire family actually met her before I did. She came down to Georgia, I think it was on business or something, and my family was having a family reunion. And she
They had a
stopped by
show
the
and
family
tell.
reunion.
They had a show and tell.
It was a family reunion.
Show and tell. Yvonne show up. So they in there.
They told the
10. She's a 10. She got my vote.
So
She got
my mom was like,
I'm sorry.
if you don't marry her, your brother will. Like so, and then so that was, and I had never met her, and so I asked her to marry me. She said yes, and is what 22 years later, 24 years
24.
later.
Yeah, we became best friends.
Yeah, became
because
best
we were pen
friends.
pals.
Yeah, we became best friends, and it was just, and I tell kids all the time, like if I had any advice to give any young person, like about relationships, about life, I would say, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness, and everything will be added to you. Because that's all I did. Like, we hear now a lot about teenagers and kids saying that the transition from being a kid to an adult is horrible. Like, they like, hey, I don't want an adult. Like, forget that. And they're reluctant to make those moves, and it's so scary for them. And like I tell them, I said, listen, please, if you lock in early, the earlier you lock in, the easier that transition will be. And so now we try to teach them how to lock in mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. If you lock in on those categories as soon as possible, your whole trajectory of life will change. And if you stop caring what people think about you, those are the key ingredients to having a wonderful life moving forward as you transition throughout life. I wasn't looking for a wife. God gave me a wife. I was so locked in on who I was and what I was doing and seeking first the kingdom of God and just really enjoying my life, being a great Marine, loving working in embassies, working with ambassadors, working with presidents, learning everything I can, learning to invest, learning how to be the greatest version of me. I was so locked in on that I had tunnel vision. And when I looked up, I had a wife, I had a family, it was just, life was amazing. Like, wow.
He had the pretty young thing.
Yeah. And I
Even
was,
though I'm 4
it
years older
shocked
than
me.
him.
Yeah, she is older than me.
He
so.
had this little
Got me a
short doo-wop in Patterson.
Beautiful.
Patterson
Look,
girl.
Patterson, I don't know how y'all let it go. I don't know how y'all missed out.
No, I'm going to tell you
thank
how to let it,
God.
bro. Feel it. You know, you've been in church. You know how it happens. People was coming up to me like, the Lord told me you were my wife. I was like, but he didn't tell me, sir. Then there were like dubs, you know, like there was a whole lot of dubs, you know. But I took a vow of celibacy. I tell little girls too, you know, about abstinence and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't believe in that. But I truly, truly believe, especially if you're coming out of horrible relationships, like you need to filter. You need to get yourself together.
First. How you be a blessing to anyone else if you ain't right with yourself?
Come on.
Exactly.
You know, I told my husband, I said, I love you, but I love God more.
That's it. And
Amen.
You know, I said, bro, I'm trying to put no words out there. I said, but if you decide to say, you know what, this ain't quite working, I might cry. Like, I'm gonna cry. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be sad. There's a lot of things that's gonna happen, right? But I love God more. So whatever happens, if he's in the wrongful walking away, if I'm in the wrongful walking away, God's gonna, you know what I mean? God gonna do that spanking.
we don't even have to worry about that because this is the key. The thing is, the God in me fell in love with the God in her.
Right. That's
Amen.
exactly right.
So
Amen.
there's no separating there. God is not going to separate himself from himself. So we locked in. And when I look at that, it's like she is a beneficiary of my relationship with God. It's no way. It's just certain things I just can't do because of my relationship with God.
Yep.
That's why when you see the gear, married and faithful, or the faithful stuff, she taught me something. I heard her speaking. Like I said, I'm her biggest fan. And we was at an event, and I remember when we got to the parking lot of the event, and the people, they knew her, but they didn't know her. And the lady said, put her to the side. She's like, before we go in here, I want you to know that these are some rough kids. This is the hood. Some of the kids they just got out of jail. They got ankle monitors on and stuff. She's like, oh, that's my specialty. Let's go. So we went in, and I even remember this one kid had just literally had ankle monitors on. He would not sit down. Before she came in the room, I went in and talked to everybody and made the greetings and everything. And they were trying to get him to sit down. He wouldn't sit down. I was like, no, let him stand. It's okay. It's not going to affect her speaking. So he was standing. She came in. She started speaking. And this young man, like, he was perfectly positioned because she was talking directly to him. And to see him break down the way he did And she said this, and I never forget. She said, there's a lot of false loyalty going around. She said, there's a lot of people just being loyal to gangs, loyal to streets, loyal to this, loyal to even family members, loyal to people that are not loyal to them. Like just basically out of false loyalty. Like you think that's what you're supposed to do. Like you're obligated to be loyal to people who've done you wrong. And she said, wait a minute. You can't even be loyal to another person if you're not loyal to yourself. How dare you? Is it even possible for you to be loyal to another person if you're not loyal to yourself first? That blew my mind. Like, I'm like, wow, like that is like, so I get this. Like, I get this all the time when she speaks. That's why I'm a number one fan. And to hear her say that just blew my mind. So it made me think, how dare I even try to be faithful to somebody else if I'm not faithful to myself first or to my God first? God been so faithful to me, even when I wasn't faithful to him. So that faithfulness supersedes anything. And I'm a Marine, and so part of it is the Marine Corps' motto is Semper Fidelis. That's Latin for always faithful. I was like, no, that for me, that goes far beyond the Marine Corps. That goes into my every aspect of my life. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with myself. Like, I have to be faithful to me. And what does faithful to myself look like? And a lot of people get it twisted. And I think a lot of people are not faithful to themselves. Because if you're faithful to yourself, you'll get yourself together mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. You'll eat better. You'll take better care of yourself. You'll invest properly. You won't just randomly just be blowing money. You won't be randomly just eating stuff that's harming your body. It's just certain that you'll mentally take care of yourself. God gave us a lot of wonderful coping mechanisms in the Bible. And a lot of people fail to use them. A lot of people just don't, they ignore it. They'll run to what the world say, oh, cope this way with this pill or this, that. But God gave us an amazing prescription of how to cope. If you read the Bible, there's just so many wonderful coping mechanisms, and people never take advantage of them. So I made it a point to be more faithful to myself. Even to this day, I got to do self-evaluations. Like, am I slipping in this area? Because I got to be faithful to me. I'm a man. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I got too many people that I'm responsible for to mess this up. Like, my wife she requires me to be the best version of myself. That's why I'm always evolving. I'm evolving. I can't be still. I can't be stagnant. I have to evolve into the next greatest version of myself. Because the last version ain't gonna get it. I gotta keep evolving, because she's worthy of that, and God is worthy of that, and it's a lot of work to be done.
Amen. Selfless plug, but how could they get that fly gear you wearing?
So we haven't even dropped
Let's
it.
go,
We haven't even
Felix.
dropped the gear yet. So it's gonna drop soon. Hopefully we get it out this month, and it'll appear first on her social media
Okay.
at Yvonne Inspires. So it'll appear there
It's
first.
Yvonne Inspires on all platforms.
Okay.
So it'll appear there first, then you'll be able to link to everything. And it's just married and faithful, and it's faithful. And that's what it's all about, just being truly faithful.
Amen, brother. Well said. So you said a little bit earlier, but how has social media changed the way you reach and engage with your audience? And also, what effects do you think it has on our children?
Psychologically, a lot of, it's just a lot. I'll give you an example. We have a 20-year-old son. We did not allow him to get on social media until he was 16 was the time we told him he could get on there. By the time he turned 16, he didn't even want to be on social media. So he has a very small presence on social. He's 20, and he has a very, very small presence on social media. But that young man, I'm just using him as an example. Now, he avid reader. He would read every single book in school, to the point where they would have to order him books, because in middle school, he was already on a college level of reading. He was more focused. He was involved in every single club. When he graduated, he had over $4 million in scholarships. He was tagged in 4th grade to go to college. He was in every science and tech and every program, hands-on program. He was in drama. He was in band. He did team, tech STEM.
TSA.
He was in TSA, which was STEAM, which is the, everything science or whatever. When I say every agricultural program, like every single program you could possibly think of, which was hands-on, I see the difference now when I look at babies who are raised by iPads, babies who are raised by phones, who are constantly on there. First of all, their little brains are moving so fast, it's outpacing their body. So they have mannerisms now as adults. They dance like adults, they talk like adults, they do facial gestures and movements like adults. They just know too much that they don't know, if that makes sense, right? They know the colloquial sayings, they know these things that are being said, all the jargon, the social media jargon, but they have never experienced any of the stuff that they're talking about. So if you ask them certain things about, situations, it's almost like, what? You didn't hear? They go into almost characters. They sound like almost like cartoon characters when they talk. That's crazy to me, right? The other thing is emotionally, it's so damaging. We're seeing it now, especially in schools. You're seeing the teachers, how kids are so addicted to phones that they're throwing fits and rages if you take the phones away. They're fighting their parents. They're breaking furniture. They're breaking up stuff. And I'm thinking, like, if you break something up in this house, like, are you crazy? And so it is doing a lot more harm than it is good. How crazy is this? The people who invented TikTok, none of their children are on TikTok.
That's how it is with all the social media platforms, for that matter.
How is it, right?
Same thing with the music.
Facebook,
you know what I'm saying?
Meta, right?
They always talk
Rappers
about
don't let the kids listen to it.
there you go. The gangster rappers don't let the kids listen
kids
to
don't
it,
listen to it.
and all their kids actually graduated college when ours is dying in the streets or going to prison.
Right. How crazy is that? So the dynamics, I taught this many years ago, right? When Facebook first came out, it was like a thing, right? And I would tell the kids, I said, be careful what you do. Your digital footprint is important, okay? Your digital footprint is important for a couple of reasons. Anytime you want to go to a college, you apply to college, military, jobs, whatever, the first thing that they're going to do is going to Google you. They're going to Google your government name. They're going to Google your birth date. They're going to Google where you live. A lot of them can get past firewalls. A lot of these companies can get past. They have a whole department that's set up. One person in the department, what's his name again? What's his department? What's social security name? And they can get him, boom, 1, 2, 3. They can see your MySpace account. That's how deep they can go back in the fold, right? That stuff will jeopardize every single opportunity. You can be a 4.0 student. You could do amazing things. You can be in every honors program ever. But if your digital footprint, if your social media stuff is jacked up, you will be denied access to so many things. Case in point, we had over 150 students lose out on over, I think, almost $200,000 in scholarships because of their TikTok. At the time, their IG. At the time, just stuff that they were putting out there. And, they'll come back and say, well, it's my freedom of speech. I'm like, but you forgot one thing, boo-boo. www, the World Wide Web. As soon as you put it out there, it is general access. It gives general access to everyone. And right now, because young folks are not really understanding how to communicate properly, having dialogue with one another, being able to talk to someone, they post emotionally. Adults post emotionally. They fight online. They have these text now apps where they go in and create these fake accounts. I mean, my goodness, they're hacking their boyfriend and girlfriend's social media pages, and it's showing up at school. They're posting fight videos. Listen. We already know. We're not even gonna go there with what happened in Patterson because we've seen the fight videos here. So when we talk about how is social media ruining young people, when you have somebody who has over 90 million views on a fight video, but then an inspirational video drops that can possibly save your life and there's only 300 likes.
Yeah, the drama and the part of my friends, the BS is what they care about,
Shock and awe.
Yep.
It's the whole the era we're in right now. It's like people want to do the most vulgar stuff, the craziest stuff, the shock jock. That's what we used to call it back in the day stuff to get people's attention. So it's not bringing out the best in you. It's making you become something that you're not. And before you know it, you don't even recognize yourself. And then it's going to take you your entire early 20s to fix that person. Nah, that's not what we're doing. So we're seeing it younger and younger. You're seeing toddlers now. It's inappropriate for toddlers to be doing twerking videos. It's inappropriate, especially when sex trafficking is number one in this country, in the southern states. It's inappropriate for anybody to think that it's okay to have their young son I'll say son and daughter, but mainly sons, to throwing up gang signs, wearing gang camouflage, doing all this. It's inappropriate. And if social media is driving a person to get likes, you're so desperate for affirmations in that sense, and you don't understand what this could possibly do to a child. You don't understand how the tracking mechanism is for that kid. You don't know when they get to college, if they get a full ride scholarship somewhere, and all somebody has to do is Google them or pull up their information. Association breeds assimilation. They see this person. A person can say, I don't want your brand. Your brand doesn't match my brand. I don't want you to come to my college. I don't want you to work for my company. I don't want you to get the internship, because we don't want that brand where we are. They may not say it, but that's exactly what they're saying. So it's doing a lot of, we're seeing uptick in suicide, 7th and 8th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders committing suicide.
It's damaging your self-image.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's doing something mentally to the self-image, but it's by design, because if that shock and that foolishness can distract you from your greatness, the enemy win. So now, but the beauty is what she's been teaching people for years now is how to take social media and turn it into a digital resume.
Yeah.
So highlight you how to take it and just make it work on your behalf.
Flex.
Like how to really just, okay, now let's if this is worldwide, if everybody have access to me, let me give them a show. Let me really show them who I am. Let me post all of my credentials. Let me show them how I just dominated in STEAM. Let me show them how I just dominated over here.
All my awards.
Let me show them how I get down. And a lot of the kids now, especially when it comes to sports, they doing a lot of that with their deals they're working on. Like they highlighting and all this stuff. So, but for a long time, she's been teaching that. How do you teach not just the athletic stuff, but now let's put those grades out there. Let's put those, that award you just won, the stuff you do in the community work you do. So now when they pull you up, they ready to get you to their college because your brand matches their brand. Now, hey, let's get this guy. His brand matches our brand. And not only does it match, he's consistently been doing this. This years of experience that he put out there. So now, just like we talked about, your body of work speaks for you. Let's show the world your body of work. Let's put it on a digital resume as a young person.
Yep.
So that's the benefit of it if you flip it. Because right now, the enemy is utilizing that tool to distract our youth from greatness. And anything, or to allow them to be comfortable, to think that, I've done enough. And comfortability, that's good. To just be good and to be comfortable is the enemy of greatness. Because if I can get you to be comfortable and stop working and just chill right here, that's good enough. Your greatness is going to be sitting over there waiting, and you'll never achieve it because you done got so comfortable. So now it's like, I hate being comfortable. I cannot stand being comfortable.
And just stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to fit in. Like we're different for a reason. I tell kids, stop trying to fit in. We don't come to fit in. We come to take over. Yeah. Take over your realm, your sphere of influence. Take over what it is that you were born in this world to do. Take over. I'm trying to take over the space of inspiring people, period. That's my operation takeover. What's your operation takeover? Your operation takeover. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're bringing to communities. Look at what you're about to bring to the Patterson community. Look at what you're going to do. You're going to change the game for so many children. They've been waiting for this. Teenagers been waiting for Felix to show up, the legend in the game to show. They've been waiting for you to show up. They need you. They need to find themselves in the boundaries of what it is, your body of work and what you've done, so they can say, if he could do it, I could do it. And then what we do is, if I could do it, you could do it better.
Of course. I tell them all the time, man, I'm a product, like you said, I come from poverty, didn't have much at all. So I'm like, God chose me, and there's no reason why you can't do the same things or even be better than I was. Can you share a memorable experience from one of your speaking engagements that particularly impacted you or your audience?
A lot, but I'll give you this one that I don't share a lot, but I will share this on this platform because of the question you asked me before about how social media affects things. I've been in Georgia for 20 some years now, right? I speak all over. When I first started speaking, I'm gonna be honest, Felix, I didn't think I could speak to anybody except people who grew up in the hood. I was so intimidated when I would go into other communities because I would think, what in the world are they're not gonna listen to me. Like, I'm just they live in these big, beautiful homes. Their parents graduated from these Ivy League colleges. What am I going to, they're not going to listen. They're going to look at me and be like, really? Look at her hair. Look, what is she wearing, And I allowed that for a long time to mess with me, right? I went to a school in Alabama, and I'll never forget it. It just so happened that the company that sent me, they hated the fact that I was the number one speaker. I didn't want to go to the school that they were sending me to, because I felt like they were trying to set me up for failure. They wanted me to go there because they felt like I would fail, just because I didn't think I would be good enough to do it. When I got there, I always pray. I always go in the bathroom and I always pray. But this one particular day, I just stayed in the car for a while. And I was crying. I was crying and I was crying. And I'm like, God, you got me out here now. You got me looking crazy, in these streets, and these people about to laugh. I'm a girl from Patterson. I'm in Alabama. Like, there's no way they're going to laugh at my accent, and I'm just talking myself out of this, right? I go in, and the first thing I start talking about is when I was a little girl, the fact that I was abused from a little girl all the way up until a teenager. And I escaped that abuse by running away from home and fighting my mother's boyfriend. And I started I'm talking about how I attempted suicide 3 times. And I got it was like the Holy Spirit just came in, and it's secular event. So it's not church. I'm not talking about God. I'm clearly sharing my testimony, right? But I'm communicating that to an audience of students to get them to the next level. But we got to filter through life first before I can talk to you about college, right? So I'm done. Lines of kids always. We have lines, and the counselor's like, she has to go. This one young man caught my eye. He never moved. He never left. He never moved. He didn't care. The counselor was screaming at him, believe he didn't. So I went, sat down. I was taking my shoes off. He came over to me, and he said this to me. He said, I was going home tonight to kill myself. My gun is in my car. He said, I just found out that I've been diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. My uncle abused me from a little boy. He said, you coming here today, basically, I don't even know where I'm throwing the gun. I'm getting rid of it. He was like, I want to go to college and I want to live.
Wow.
Broke me down. I've had kids. My husband was witness. He'll tell you, kids will come up to me. They'll pull their pants up where they have been cutting from their groin all the way down to their kneecaps, where they have sliced up their underarms, cutting themselves because they're so numb from the pain. And I share with people how I used to be so numb. Because you got to go into a pocket of being numb when you experience so much pain. You got to go into a pocket where you block out pain so much. And you say, that don't hurt me. That don't hurt. Do it again. That don't hurt. And when I start sharing with them how I would be blinded by anger and rage, and until one day I allowed myself to feel one day. And I had to begin forgiving people in my life without apologies. That man that ruined my life he in the grave now. He OD'd. He never has to apologize to me for the years he beat the skin off my body. He never got to apologize to me. But I'm not numb to pain anymore. I feel. And because I feel, if I can tell you anything, every single thing that try to break you is going to build somebody else's life. Everything that tried to break you wasn't even for you. It wasn't even for you. The hate that you had for your mama, that was me. I hated my mother. I blamed her for everything. The hate that I had. When I see a baby come up to me and they'll raise up a sleeve, or young men buckling at the knees, holding onto me, boo-hoo, crying, after somebody just told me that their whole family drug dealers, their daddy is the lead gang member. I don't care about none of that. That don't matter to me. This is somebody's baby right here, right? So it's many of those stories, bro. It's so many of them, but nobody knows that, because I had to fight through my own insecurities. I had to fight through the imagery that I had in my brain that I was born to a mother who couldn't read or write. I had to fight through the imagery of, my dad family lived 5 blocks from me and I was eating out the trash and they lived in a house. They owned a house. And I had to fight through that. I had to fight through being in shelters. I had to fight through running out of food. I had to fight through my granddad walking me on his back up Grand Street to the bakery, waiting till the bakery shut down to get the mildew, moldy bread to cut around it to go home. No blankets, bro. We had coats, man. We lived on the attic floor, right? And I had to fight through all of that just so I could tell these kids, baby, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Nobody's better than you. Let's level the playing field. Some of the most beautiful people in this room that live in the best houses wear the best masks. The most beautiful chick in here, she probably the most insecure.
Yep, I was just about to say that.
Right?
By fact.
The little girl that's in here, that's the straight A student, she don't have no peace at home. You don't know what her home life is. So I really feel like God sometimes he uses me to level the playing field, right? This little baby at Caps. I know I'm jumping around. I'm sorry. I know you got a whole lot to go, but I'm like, you got me all messed up now.
It's okay.
This little dude.
You do whatever you want to do. Take your time.
This little dude named Derek at Mr. Moody School at Caps, right? Oh God, sweet baby, right? We were at PCCC. I was doing the motivation inspirational marathon. I was trying to hit every school I can. Just put me on. I'm here. First, I'm going to be here for a week. They didn't know I was coming to town and take care of my mom because my mom had got diagnosed with cancer. They just thought, oh, she in town. Come to our school. But I was just doing that because that was for me. That was for me.
Your therapy.
Yes, that was my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how God was going to double back. I didn't know how he was going to run it back on me. I'm just thinking like, Lord, I'm just doing this because you called me to do this. This home for me. When I'm home, I got a different type of energy. When I'm home, I'm crazy. When I'm home, it's something about being home. Like I walk these streets. Like this is my city. So this baby, he said to me, when I first when we got to school, he said, oh, thank you so much. He's so sweet, so polite. You changed my life. I can't wait to read your book. And we finally ordered the books because we run out of them a lot because I give them away most of the time, and they sell out when we go places, but I give them, here, take them. How many kids you got to take them? And we kept running out of them. And finally I had enough and I brought them with me. But my mom was getting all this care that I couldn't, I forgot him and I couldn't get him to the school, but finally ended up getting to the school. The young man got the book, right? What is he, a junior now?
I think
He's a junior. He was a rising junior then. And he says to me, he thanks me, amazing speech. And I'm just, most kids they say that stuff to me, but I'm always just listening. I try not to, just think, oh, everybody says that. I'm just like, thank you, sweetheart. I get to South Georgia, and I'm going through some stuff, man. I'm going through some stuff. I don't know if you ever feel like this, bro. Like sometimes I feel like people who family don't appreciate me. I feel like they take advantage of me. They now it's like I'm all saved and stuff. Like they think I'm a punk now. It's like you can run over. You think you can say whatever you want to say to me. And if I don't do what you ask me to do, then you want to lie on me. You want to talk about me. You want to tell people stuff about me that's not true. You want to try to blemish my character. You want to say all of this stuff about me, right? And then I feel like whatever I do for you, you don't acknowledge it. You go around saying I never did anything.
Or don't value or appreciate it.
Don't value, right? And I'm not even looking for a thank you. I don't want to thank you, but just stop fighting me. Like, what do I do? I don't bother anybody. I work, I go home. I don't start trouble. I'm delivered. Thank God I'm delivered. Because God spared you. Right? Like, you're being spared right now. Right? So, I was just going through something. I'm like, does anybody ever stop and say, yo, like, this girl, she go through a lot.
Are you okay?
Is she okay? Is she okay? Is she, like, for real okay, right? And then I be thinking, like, all of these people do all of this stuff to me in real time, 2025, and never apologize for what they do to me. And I just have to keep giving them passes and forgive them and accept them in my life again, because that's what Jesus wants me to do. And they never have to apologize. So they never have to walk through that period of grace where it says, apologize to me. I'm not going to hold it against you. I promise. I don't have a grudge. I'm not bitter. I just, you did something to me. Acknowledge that. Don't walk past that. Like, you hurt me. But because you don't acknowledge it, and you don't say you don't apologize, guess what I got to do now? In order to function in my purpose, in order to not be a hypocrite, in order to not go out here and give these kids false hope, I have to forgive you for real and just say, God, please don't forget about me, because I'm hurting.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm tired today, God. I'm worn out. People think the travel life is glamorous. They don't see for real, right? So I'm all the way in South, almost Florida. Little boy from Patterson, from Dr. Moody's school. I'm feeling it. I'm crying. I'm like, nobody ever stops to think or consider my feelings, and I'm like in my feelings, and I'm like, snap out of it. You got hundreds of people waiting on you, thousands of kids waiting for you. Meanwhile, I'm talking about, we got the assembly, the building is shaking. I'm thousands of kids. I'm talking about, we can't get finished fast. Kids won't even leave. Security coming to get them out. I'm running through. I'm a wild woman on the road. Okay. I get a message on my phone. It's a young man from Mr. Moody. Same day I'm going through all of this. Same day I'm saying, I'm going to shake it off, God. I'm going to shake it off. And I'm going to go in here and do what you told me to do, Father. I decree and declare in this space, you are Lord. I thank you for what you are about to do in here. Father, I thank you for setting every one of them free. And I'm mad at the devil because you try to hurt me today. I'm mad because you try to make me sad today. Now, guess what, God? Do your big one up in here today. He did his big one. I go back to my hotel. This is the voicemail I get. Dr. Williams, I just want to say to you, thank you for writing this book. You're a tremendous author, but I want to say this. I don't know if all of these people that hurt you ever said that they were sorry. So I just want to say, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for every one of those people who did that to you. You are an amazing woman, and you didn't deserve any of that. I'm sorry for the person who hurt you when you was a little girl who didn't apologize. I'm sorry for your family members that take you for granted. Bruh, I was wrecked for like a month. Wrecked.
That made up for all what you dealt with that day.
What? And I saw him last night. I said, get over here.
I know you hugged him. I was about to say.
Get your butt over here.
I know you hugged him.
I said, if you get your little butt over here. He was like, what, Miss Yvonne? I said, sit down. Don't you ever. No, but you better. So it'd be coming back like that.
See, then, when you, like, again, when you do God's work, that's just so rewarding to hear that. You know what I mean? Because they always say, I'm kind of guilty of that, where it's like I always think about the numbers because of my background, and everybody's like, bro, the goal is to touch one kid's life. You touch way more than that already. So you should be more than grateful for that. Some people don't even get that much of an opportunity. And I'm just like, nah, but I want to do thousands. Like, it's cool. I did a couple hundred, but I want to do thousands of kids because I feel like I could be a blessing and help them. Mm-hmm. But, when they do say that, like Mr. Natal, thank you. We had one kid, they tried to kill him 2 times. He's only 14 years old. And his mom was like, I never seen him so inspired and motivated about music. Could you recommend a music studio for him to go to in New York? And I was like, definitely. Gave it to him. And she said, he's been locked in ever since. So, like, that's what it's, being able to do that and just making an impact and changing kids' lives is just, I can't even explain it. I get goosebumps every time I say that or think about that.
That's the thousands.
Yes.
But you're going to see that, though.
Yes.
You're going to see you just laying the groundwork right now, right? This is God. All God is doing is a proving ground right now for you. This is it right here. He's saying, yeah, I see your heart. Yeah, baby boy, I see your heart. That's the heart I want you to have. Keep going. That's the heart. That's it. That's what I want right there. I want that. I want you to see it bigger than thousands. I want you to see 10,000s. I'm hundreds. I want you to see millions. Yeah, you're not wrong for wanting to see those numbers. You're not wrong for wanting to see that. No. You're not wrong for just saying, I just don't want to see one. Yeah. You're not wrong at all. You are absolutely 1,000,000% on task and right about it, Brother Felix. And don't ever move from that place. So stay right there, because guess what? Every single thing you ask God for and you believe Him for, He's gonna give it to you.
Amen. Thank you, my sister. I appreciate that.
And the work is needed. Like imagine you reaching thousands. Look how many the enemy is reaching every day through social media. So for you to want to reach thousands, God, that's small. Let's get these numbers up now.
Yes.
Because it is so needed. Like we need so many people doing this work. Like that's why when I see you, like you're a legend. Like her, she's a legend. Like we talked about Lieutenant Sharon, she's a legend in the game. We're talking about Benji Wimberly, legends in the game. Like people who have been doing the work. Like and even by impacting one or two or three, how many more are they impacting? Like because you'll never know the fullness of that impact. And one thing that her and I, my wife and I, we look at now, and we look at kids, man, they are going through it. They are really going through some stuff. Like, we didn't have the pressures of social media. Bullying follows you home now. Bullying is a 24/7 thing now. So you can't escape these things. So we have to reignite these kids. We have to awaken some stuff in them. We have to help them. See, as adult, you and I as fathers right now, you have a why. Your why is your children. Your why is your family. Your why is your purpose. Kids don't really have a why yet. They figured it out. They typically get your why later. But if we can give them a why now while they're young, that's the game. Because now they got something they can lock in on. So one thing we look at is, I was telling some young men here recently, your why is your future self. You should be best friends with your future self. You should be so locked in with your future self because you all he got. If you don't do it, then he gonna suffer. So every kid, they should be looking at their future self and say, what can I do right now to position so that guy can win in the future, to make his life easier. So we have to give them a why. If you don't even know what your purpose is or your profession you want to do yet, start working on this why right now. Start making yourself a better person for that future self. Because your future self is really dependent on you, man. Because that guy is looking at you like every day, you got to look him in the mirror. And he looking at you like, man, if you don't do it, it ain't going to get done. So if we can impute that and give that to the kids now and give them a why, a purpose, a reason just to go hard, man. Like you said, a young man, he found music and he locked in. Let's give even the ones that don't know what they want to do, give them a why to lock in on right now until they find out their purpose, until we can get them to their thing. So that, man.
And what you said about, all those people being legends, that's the whole reason why I wanted you guys here. Because again, everybody's okay, legend in the game. So he going to have a bunch of rappers, models, celebrities, influencers, right? Which I could do too. That's not it. But I wanted to bring in why I feel like yourself, why you're a legend in the game, because of, like you said, your passion, your purpose, what you do for the community. There should be more awareness of that. And to me, you are a legend in the game. And that's the reason why I choose to have people like yourself on the show, because I want to bring more light to those people that are behind the scenes, doing the things that don't get the attention that it deserves.
And it needs.
Of course.
When I walked in here, I feel like this is Narnia. Yeah. I walked in here. Listen, I'm not trying to be your friend because you're my brother in Christ, and I hope we're friends at this point.
Of course.
So I'm not trying to win your friendship. When I walked in the building, I felt like I was in versus outside the building. It's nice outside. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice area. But I'm saying when walking in, this is so unique, so different, so like nothing I've seen. I told your wife this. I'm so sick of young people who have the dream of music, having to go to a studio that people are smoking weed. The whole studio smells like weed. So you mean to tell me if I want to go record my book, if I got to go stand in the booth, I got to leave. I'm free now from weed for over 20 some odd years. So I got to come out of there smelling like skunk. That's what you're telling me. I got to come home now smelling like weed now. That's what you're saying to me. So now you're telling me that my child has to go into an environment, like this is what the environment looks like. Like it has to be women that are just sitting around that unfortunately, some people say are there because they're fanning out and would do anything. So they're not conducive to the family man life. I watched you kiss your baby and wife 5,000 times before they left. I watched you tell them how much you love them before you. We're in your house. We're in your studio. Like what we walked through, I could see your credentials all over. You don't even have to tell me. I'm enamored by the decor, by the colors. My sensory is stimulated. I don't need weed. I don't need anything. I don't need anything to drink. I'm already over. My sensory is already on overload. I'm inspired already. Like I'm ready to go. What? Let's do 16 bars. What are we doing? Yeah. Is this thing on? Can you hear me now? I'm so Patterson. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready to rap or speak or sing or do my whatever you said I was going to be singing. But the narrative, and I'm saying this to you because I can see it, it's so clear, it's so evident to walk in. And we share that goal of wanting to reach the next generation and the generation before that, and then the generation before and after that, and after that, and before that, and before that. So you already laid the groundwork. This is a blueprint. This is par excellence. This is creme de la creme. You walk up in here, you can't buy this stuff at, no offense, Wayfair. I love you, but you can't get this stuff at Wayfair. Who getting this? You ain't getting this at Wayfair, baby. You know what I'm saying? Your baby gets the chance to walk out of here, be inspired, touch greatness that has already touched greatness, touch the legend who has been among legends, talk to somebody who has been 1 degree of separation. Now, boom, instantly your youth has been 1 degree of separation away from somebody who is right now in the industry or who has made an indentation and impact on the industry. And this man is standing here as a man of God, as a father, as a husband, as a business owner. But he also is, he has multiple levels of things that he does. He has his hand in the back. His engineer is bomb. You know what I mean? His photographer is bomb. You know, his videographer is bomb. Like what do you need? We a one-stop shop up in here. This ain't Walmart. This is, what do you need? Media City, legends, what do you want? We got it all. It's like you open up your jacket and share everything.
Yeah, they get mad too because they're like, we can't smoke in here. I'm like, bro, I tell every rapper, and we've had some big names in here, and I'm like, bro, you want to smoke? You go outside. Yeah. I'm like, and I tell them I straight up, I'm like, that's not even my rule. That's the rules of the building. Like, I don't play that. Like,
we make no apologies for that. No smoking.
Yeah, they'd be like shocked because they'd be like, for real, not me. I sold how many millions of records? I'm like, yo, fam,
not you.
Sorry, fam. You gotta go outside.
You don't smoke in Nordstrom. You don't smoke in Bloomingdale's. You don't smoke at Delta. You don't smoke. Delta flights don't smell like weed. You know what I'm saying? American Airlines don't smell. You're not smoking in these big establishments that's owned by people who have way many more things than our community has. Why does our community have to always, you know what I'm saying? Why do we always have to lower the standard? Why do we always have to not be able to come in with these rules and these regulations? Listen, you don't have to do it here. I love you, but this is a place of excellence. I want to bring the excellence. How about let's try this? Try not to do it and let's see what happens.
Amen. What are your future goals or projects that you're excited about in your speaking career?
Oh, this is good stuff. To continue to speak. That's all I can say. Continue to speak, to inspire. The word inspires to breathe life. So continue to breathe life as long as I'm speaking. I pray that is bringing and breathing life into someone else. We are, of course, our products, our merch. What people don't know is that we've been doing merch before a lot of people were doing merch. The I Inspire Greatness, people stole that from us. There's a lot of stuff that people stole. So we went from being able to push our brands to having to protect it. We did, was that 14 years now? 14 years now we started that. So we've been doing a lot of merch. I'm doing my own shoe line, my own jewelry line. You see my little. This
little?
Is not mine.
I was about to say little.
Like, this is not mine.
You don't stay with anything little. Pardon me.
It's not mine. And then of course the shows, multiple shows. We are working on something along the lines of a reality show, but not like people think reality, but more so I want them to be able to see what happens when we're on the road. I want them to be able to see the change, the actual change, and what happens to teenagers. Because sometimes people don't believe it until they see it. You know, they hear this little freckle-faced girl going all over the world, and you know these kids, and they can't believe how these teenagers and young people are responding. But I want them to peek into that. But we just have to be a little careful with that because you know sometimes the things that they go through.
Yeah, private, personal. Yeah, I mean, we said that too. Me, Anthony, Smooth, even with what we do here with the kids is just like, we need to capture that and see who the next Felix Natal is, or the next Anthony Brito, or the next Smooth. But then again, being minors and all that stuff, we have to be cautious and mindful of that. And then a lot of the kids we do deal with are troubled youth,
right? So you have to
group homes, whatever. So again, we have to be cautious and mindful of that. You did mention it earlier, but how do you maintain balance and self-care while traveling and speaking frequently?
Honestly, bro, my prayer life, just putting things in perspective, being convicted, always asking the Holy Spirit to convict me when I need to slow down and when I need to eat properly. My husband, he's my partner. He's not just my husband, but he's also, we're not business partners. We're in business together. We're one. We move as a unit. So if something is off beat, he'll tell me, you've been drinking, you haven't had anything to eat today, eat something. You didn't drink something. So we're accountable one to another. The accountability level brings the balance and making sure we remain accountable, being open to reproof. Listen, I was a hard. I'm put it like this. I was tough, okay? I'm not as tough as I used to be, but I'm tough. So certain things, when we first got married, it was like we were doing open heart surgery with no anesthesia. We've learned now through all the years of marriage that, hey, listen, if you don't like something or something is not being managed right, then we need to tap one another and say, look, you need to do this. So we have to, our balance is this, respecting the God in each other. So if God tells me something that I need to tell you, then you need to listen up. And if you want to say something to me, say it. But it's when to say it, how to say it, and know. And then when your body. I know now. I'm old enough now to know when my body is tired. I've dealt with health issues for a very long time in my life because of trauma. So I'm very conscious of certain things if my body isn't feeling a certain way. I wasn't drinking sodas for a long time. I started back drinking sodas, but now we've gotten it down to a little science now where I drink ginger ale.
Yeah, me too. I don't drink no other soda but ginger ale. Yep.
So you might see me at events sipping on ginger ale.
That's what I asked you before. I was like, what are ginger ale? I don't do soda.
And the crazy thing is, though, it's so I get cars. People don't know I travel, but I get travel sick. I get car sick. Is that crazy? Yeah. So ginger ale settles my stomach, and then the gum settles.
Same thing with me. Nope. When I travel, it was the same thing. I have to have the ginger ale with me because I'll get nauseous.
Yeah. And there's no such thing as balance either, bro. The balance is people lie. Okay, it's hard. You just need to know when to tell yourself, cut it out, stop it. Like you had enough. Stop. No more. Go to sleep.
Something people would be surprised to know about you.
I am the most private public person ever. When I go home, meaning I take all this glitz, glamour, nice, shiny stuff off, and I will put on some pajamas, and I get my fluffy robe, and I get my furry, furry, fluffy slippers, thanks to my husband, and I will watch documentaries, TikTok, to time drops. I watch documentaries all day, every day, all day. It's psycho crazy because I know everything about anybody. If you ask me, I can tell you, and I am a conversationalist because I know a lot about a lot of people that I probably shouldn't know. Want to know what happened to Bruce Lee? What really happened to Bruce Lee? No.
Yeah, I always watch the documentaries. What I watched last night, I watched the one on Gilbert Arenas and damn, I forgot his name. Christensen?
Yes.
From Georgia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched that one last night. I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew about the whole incident with the lock, but I didn't know he wound up catching a body and all that stuff. I'm like,
was that the one with the guy with the gun when he had brought the gun out, the basketball player?
Yes.
I watched that documentary. I was like,
yeah. That's what I said. I knew about them getting into it as far as that, but I didn't know the after effects of it. Where he went to jail for 10 years. He was supposed to do 23 years, and he got out after 10. But,
isn't that powerful though?
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, but I watched a lot of those kind of like documentaries too.
That's all I watch.
That's what I primarily like to watch as well.
She loved documentaries.
I love
and
it.
I turned on to 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Oh my
That too.
God.
That too. Those are my two right there.
And I was going to be a boxer.
Well, yeah, I can believe it. I'm curious. What's the best advice you ever received?
Pastor Lassiter. Let's go back to him. Two things. One, I was about to buy a car, and he said to me,
Oh, forget the car guy, the car king.
he said, he got me good, too. He said, where does your son go to school? What does his grades look like? He was like, don't buy a car that depreciates in value. Take that money and put your son in private after school programs, learning after school programs, so that his grade point average can go up, because his education is going to be your best investment. That was one of the most powerful. Nobody ever said that to me, because I'm like, whoa, I'm about to get this whip. My credit is good. Whoa, no more buses, right? That was really good, because I understood then, like I really started understanding the value of education and how powerful it is. The other thing he said to me one time, I was so excited to him. I showed him my business card when the name of my business originally was Emerge Greatness. And I showed him my first business cards, and I brought it up to him, and he looked at it. He's like, and you're better than that too. He was like, that's not even good enough. That doesn't represent who you are. I'm like, bruh, it's linen, it's gold felt. What are you talking about? This is you know how much these cost me? You know, he's like, and you're better than that too. And then he turned at me and he said, don't you allow anyone to make you a local celebrity. God said you're global greatness.
Wow. Amen. Amen.
And I was like, church!
Wow.
Cue up the music.
If you weren't a speaker, what would you be doing?
Running a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be right now. I would run a Fortune 500 company, but I would be, if I wasn't a speaker, a lot of people, some people in Patterson remember this. I did prophetic dance. I taught prophetic dance for 7 years. I taught flag ministry, dance ministry, praise dance ministry. So I did a lot of praise dancing all over. So I would have an international prophetic praise team that we would tear the whole, when I tell you dance, like you ain't never seen before, because I love dancing. But you've never seen me praise dance before, so yeah, that's what it would be.
Okay. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say?
Woo. Forgive them quick. Forgive them quick. Forgive them quick.
Powerful.
Them meaning everybody that hurt you. Because up until then, I was destroying myself, trying to help the pain that they caused me.
What roles does faith, spirituality play in your work and your message?
It is the overarching thing. Without any of that, there's no me. I'm not crazy enough to believe that Yvonne Johanna Harvey Williams, that's my whole government name. I am not crazy enough to believe that where I am right now, where I sit right now, and all the things that I've done right now, that I've done it myself. Absolutely not. No way.
What legacy do you hope to leave through your work and the impact you have on others?
Man, I just want people to live their best self ever that God created them to be. And if I could help in any way, when I leave a person, I say this. When I hug them, I say, I love you, and I love you in real life. For real, for real. And then they say, and I'm like, you don't have to say it back. I understand it's probably uncomfortable for you to say. I said, but can you do this for me? Please just don't stop being the best version of yourself. So just be your best version of you.
What's next for you?
I'm going to go home with this man, right? Chia. And we've been on the road for, he a handsome guy, too. Well, y'all don't have to, y'all do. So, wait, can I say this last thing? This is funny.
Go ahead.
So, he didn't give you the whole story like I thought he would about me meeting him and stuff like that.
Okay.
So when I kept asking my uncle, I was like, ironically, okay, so I met my biological father, then I met my biological uncle through meeting my biological father. Unfortunately, the relationship between my biological father and I didn't really work out like I thought it would eventually. But my uncle and I are like this. Like, he is actually like a dad to me. Like, I talk to him every single day. So when he was trying to hook me up, because that's what I think he was trying to do, but he didn't know it at the time, because he was like, yo pen pal, yo pen pal. And I'm like, what? Who has time to write? I work for the New York Times newspaper sales division. And so I kept asking him, when he proposed to me, right? Because he's like, I think I know who my wife is. I'm like, that's so great. I'm so happy for you. Oh, and he's like, you, and I'm like, yeah. Right? So I'm like, wait, I never seen him before. I don't know what he looks like. So I'm asking my uncle on the phone, I'm like, what does he look like? And my uncle's like, I don't know. He just puts a lot of lotion on. I'm like, what? He's like, I think he got to be the driest, ashiest man ever. And then I said, well, like what he looks like. He's like, oh, he got little eyes. I'm like, what do you mean he has little eyes? He was like, I can't see his eyes. When he smiles, they go away. He was like, I don't know how to say another man is handsome. He was like, I don't know. Ask his mama. So then I asked his mom, I'm like, so how is he? She was like, well, he's special. And I'm like, what do you mean special? He's just so special. And I'm like, is it like sea smeller special? Like, what are we talking about here? Why can't anybody give me a straight answer? Is he handsome? Is he cute? What am I getting myself into here? And so I will never forget this. I told a lady that I work with, I said, he's, I hope he's handsome. And she was like, well, honey, are you going to go see him? And I said, yeah. I said, but he's younger than me. She said, good. The men all go before we do. It doesn't matter how he looks. So I'm taking this special little eye, using a lot of lotion man home.
She asked me this.
Hopefully he don't go before I do. We go at the same time, man.
Years later, she asked me, she said, what you would have did if I would have been this big, out of shape woman? Because I asked her before I met her, right? I said, you would have been my big, fat, out of shape woman. Because I was all in at that point. It was all
spiritual.
Ask me
what I
I asked her the same thing. She was like,
funny. Like you said, this is pre, smartphone,
Yes.
FaceTime, AOL. So
it was we quickly met, but you know what I'm saying? Still, he asked me, he said, what would you have done? I said, bruh, I would have pretended.
If I would have been this out of shape, ugly guy, she was like,
we'll say like not attracted to one another type people, right? Yeah. So I was like, honey, you would have just walked right on past me. I would have pretended like I would have like, doo-doo. I said, because you know what? My Italian best friends told me, don't marry because of God and don't marry because of love. Marry because of looks, because you got to wake up to him every day. This is the type of advice I was getting, okay? And then my older sister Joyce saw him. She was one of the first ones to see him. She passed away many years ago, but she was one of the first ones to meet him. She said, girl, he looks so good. How do you keep your hands off him? I said, because I ain't trying to go to H-E-double hockey stick. That's how.
Oh, man. So where can they find you and how can they book you to speak?
Yvonne Inspires on all platforms. That's one word, YVONNE, Inspires, INSPIRES. Yvonne Inspires on all platforms. DM. We are Yvonne at speaktoinspire.com. That's the email. But if you go to Yvonne Inspires, you go to our website, which is www.yvonneinspires.com. DM, call, however you want to get us, you let us know.
Okay. So we're going to do what's called rapid fire segment.
Okay.
Quick gems with Yvonne Inspires. Say the first thing that comes to your mind. What's one word to use to describe you?
Ooh, shiny, baby.
Morning person or night owl?
Ooh, night owl all day.
Me too. Favorite motivational quote?
Mine, if you can't handle my shine, put some shades on.
Yeah, I love that one too. A book that changed your life?
The Bible.
Amen. Great answer. Dream speaking location or event?
Well, I did speak in every state in the United States of America, but I do want to speak in, you don't know? Where? Africa.
Africa. Mm-hmm. Amen. A song that always lifts your spirits?
Fred Hammond. No weapon formed. Don't get me started.
Did you have a role model growing up?
That's not a rapid question. My grandma. I love my grandma.
First job you ever had?
Legally or illegal.
Okay, we can pass on that one.
New York Times newspaper circulation sales firm. Telemarketer, first job.
3 words to describe your journey so far.
Super duper incredible.
Amen. What makes you smile instantly, which I think I know the answer to that.
Instantly? Well, it's my God, my husband, my kids, and my grandbabies. Good God Almighty.
Amen. Amen. What's one thing every young person should hear today?
You're enough.
And legacy in 1 word.
Inspire.
Yvonne Harvey Williams is living proof that purpose and passion could turn pain into power. Her voice, rooted in experience and elevated by faith and resilience, continues to echo through classrooms, conferences, and communities, reminding us of the transformation begins with truth. As we wrap up this episode of Legend in the Game, let Yvonne's story remind you you're never too broken to rebuild, and voice might be a lifeline someone else needs to hear. Keep showing up, keep speaking life, and always keep inspiring. Thank you for listening to this episode of Legend in the Game on Media City Radio. God bless. Thank you today for coming. I love you guys.
I love you too.
I love you in real life.
In real life, for real.
And I appreciate you.
Yes,
I appreciate you for joining. Thank you again. God bless you. Have a great day. God bless.
God bless.